Hello and welcome
Welcome
to
to our
Sec.
fourth episode from the Crypto Star Show. Today we will be discussing about centralized and decentralized exchanges, what's the difference between them, how you can benefit from using them, what are the requirements or tools you need to use decentralized exchange. We will be comparing both centralized exchange and decentralized exchange. We will be talking about pros and cons about centralized and decentralized exchange. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe for more content. So basically, when we talk about trading crypto and buying cryptocurrencies, basically we hear the words centralized and decentralized exchange. Basically, centralized exchange are decentralized cryptocurrency exchanges and function as a middleman between buyers and sellers. Almost all crypto transactions are conducted through centralized exchanges, which provide more trustworthiness. So basically, how does a centralized crypto exchange work? Centralized exchange are platforms that allow users to buy crypto altcoin uh, for fiat currency such as the US dollar or digital assets like BTC and ETH. So basically, they operate like a broker and frequently serve as custodians, keeping and safeguarding your cash. Some of the cryptocurrency exchanges, some of the most famous, which is Binance, and you have Bitfinex, Coinbase, Gemini, GDEX, Hubei Global, Kraken, KuCoin, and basically those centralized exchange. Some of the pros of centralized exchange, they are user friendly and easy to use. You have the mobile application which you can download it even if you have the an Apple mobile, or even if you have like an Android device, so you can go on the Play Store or Apple Store, or you can use it on desktop, download the application, create an account, sign up, and you can start trading basically on the centralized exchange. Some of the exchanges need a KYC, which is know your customer. They will need from you to update and upload documents like your passport, like your national ID or driving license, and you have to be 18 plus. Regulation frequently are different from regular platforms. So basically, every exchange has its requirement or criteria to be signed in, and so you can trade and use the platform. Basically, the pros of centralized exchange, like we talked, the first one is user-friendly interface, simple platform, easy to use, and an added layer of security and trustworthiness. Some of the cons of centralized exchange, it is highly vulnerable to hacking or cybersecurity threats, and it's charged service fees, of course, on trading, and it is controlled by a centralized entity and can be shut down in theory. So we've seen in the market, like in those 2 years recently, we've seen a lot of centralized exchanges closing their door or shutting down without refunding to people or without getting your amount or your fund back. So basically, we've seen it happen. That's one of the cons of centralized exchange. It is controlled by an entity. Basically, that's one of the baddest cons ever. The decentralized exchange, we hear this word also a lot, especially after the bull run and when the DeFi market did hit hard. So decentralized exchange is a non-centralized alternative to centralized exchange, in which no single entity is in charge of the assets. So basically, smart contract and decentralized apps are used to automate transaction and trade, and this method actually is far safer since no security breach is possible. Basically, if the smart contract is developed correctly and safely. So basically, what does centralized exchange mean in a deep uh, explanation? Basically, one of the primary aims of decentralized exchange is to complete the transaction more quickly and cost effective as compared to the centralized exchanges. They achieve this by removing the intermediaries that charge a cut in the form of transaction fees on the centralized exchange. We know that one of the world's largest decentralized exchange is Uniswap actually, and like in the late of 2021, Uniswap was charging almost 0.05% on transaction fee, while centralized exchanges such as Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken were charging 0.2% and 0.1%. So basically, there's a huge difference. We're talking around like 50% more highest on fees. So basically, some of the pros of decentralized exchange, it is completely private and anonymous. So basically, you will be using your MetaMask or Trust wallet. You will be using a decentralized wallet to use the decentralized exchange, and you don't need to transfer assets to a third party. That's the second pros, and fees are distributed to liquidity provider we will be showing in the video, but and not to a centralized party. That's basically some of the pros of decentralized exchange. Some of the cons of decentralized exchanges: trading in fiat currency is not permitted, we all know that, and the risk of impermanent loss for liquidity provider, and liquidity can be thin, making it harder to execute to execute large orders. So basically, if we compare both by features, security, and crypto asset diversity. If we go to the features section, centralized crypto exchanges have an advantage over decentralized in terms of functionalities. Basically, to improve your trading, you may employ margin trading, portfolio management tools, several sophisticated order kinds, and you can play future. There's a lot of feature that is not yet available on the decentralized exchanges. It's still limited a little bit. We've seen it. So, and basically customers of decentralized crypto exchange have access to a restricted number of order type, and they don't have access, like we said, to margin order, future order, portfolio management. So basically, if we will be seeing in the next years or the next few months is maybe we will see more advanced decentralized exchange entering the market, which they will provide more functionalities and more advantages. Basically, if we move to the security part, there are very few scams at centralized exchange, uh, basically, and we've seen it a lot. So, the centralized exchange hold your personal safety. Also know your wallet, because when you're depositing your funds into a centralized exchange, they have the control over your wallet, they have the control over your funds. So basically, if something bad happened to the exchange, you could lose your investment. So basically, you if you have lost your password, if you have forgot your password, you will be resetting your password on centralized exchanges, and it will be sent via email or via phone number by SMS. Basically, that's it. On the decentralized exchange, there's something more important. Uh, there's no way you can get your money back from scams, because also you hold your own wallet and you can't change your password. Basically, usually all of the decentralized wallets, you use seed phrase and the private key. You should always store those in a safe place. You should always write them on a paper and put them in somewhere special and somewhere safe that you remember. Because if you lose your private key, if you lose your seed phrase, you will not have access to your wallet again. So basically, that's about the decentralized exchange. If we talk about the speed difference, basically, decentralized exchange are slower than centralized exchange. Basically, because on centralized exchange, it take about 10 seconds to finish a transaction, or to fill up the order book. On a decentralized exchange, it take 15 seconds to match and execute the order. The transaction need to be verified on the blockchain. So basically, if we uh, do a summary about centralized and decentralized exchange and the feature. When it comes of like easy to use, a decentralized exchange, it is user friendly. You just log in, you just sign up, and you will be trading using the different feature on the application. Basically, it is easy to use. On the decentralized exchange, it is. a little bit complicated. You have to download MetaMask and you have to connect it if you want to buy tokens and if you want to buy other stuff. You should always in your MetaMask configure the network. I'm logged in now on PancakeSwap, and basically it is a on the Binance blockchain it is built. So basically on my MetaMask, I should always have the network connected on a smart chain. If you are connecting on Uniswap, I should connect my wallet into the Ethereum network. So basically, it is a little bit complicated to use. As for the security, centralized exchange do have the risk of being hacked, and we've seen it a lot recently. And decentralized exchange, the only difference in security, it's the risk of smart contract exploit. So basically, if the smart contract, sorry, was hacked, or it has malfunction or something like this, yeah, it could ruin the whole uh, exchange. It could ruin the whole procedure, because all of this interface, all of these DeFi application are built on smart contract. So basically, this is the difference between the two of them. For there's For the feature, on centralized exchange, you can do spot, margin, portfolio management, future, etc. On decentralized exchange, we're still limited by only swapping. You do liquidity provider. We've seen some simple staking and liquidity provider pools. We will be waiting for new systems to enter the market to provide more feature. Depending on the speed, basically, the centralized exchange, we've talked about it. It is way more fast. It is instant. On decentralized exchange, the order need to be confirmed on the blockchain. Based on the fees, centralized exchange charges standard fees. We've talked also about that. On decentralized exchange, it is gas fees. So basically, it depends on the blockchain that we're using. It depend on the blockchain, if it is high fees, if it is low fees, etc. Trading volume is always higher on centralized exchange than decentralized exchange. Also, the liquidity is higher on centralized and decentralized. uh, Regulation, on centralized exchange, it can be easy regulated because it is a legal entity to a third party. On decentralized exchange, it is complicated, the regulation, because we know it is a decentralized application. So, and also fiat payment, it is supported on centralized. On decentralized, it is not supported. So basically, so basically, uh, that's the main comparison between both of centralized and decentralized exchanges. On decentralized exchange, you can provide liquidity, and on every transaction you will be gaining a fees. So basically, that's it for the decentralized and centralized exchanges. That's the main difference. Some of the question we keep getting, like, uh, how decentralized exchanges work. Basically, the centralized exchange uh, is a non-centralized alternative to centralized exchange, in which no single entity is in charge of the asset. What's the main benefit of decentralized exchange over centralized exchange? Decentralized exchange cannot be hacked by a single party. Centralized exchanges is more open to attacks, basically, and maintain access users to their wallet and control over their cryptocurrency holding. It is available 100% on decentralized exchanges. On centralized exchange, it is quite controlled by a third party, which is the legal entity that own the exchange. Some example of decentralized exchange, it is PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, Uniswap, Curve, and Venus. And basically, are decentralized exchange safe? Yeah, it's just like exchanges and centralized exchanges. Uh, Liquidity is significant for all financial asset and instrument traded on a certain exchange. Liquidity is still a formidable concern, because on decentralized exchange, any project can list their token and add liquidity. We've heard a lot of the word rug pull. So basically, decentralized exchange, anyone can create a token and put liquidity on decentralized exchange. Um, it is risky. So basically, anyone can put liquidity, develop a token, and put it on decentralized exchange. There's a lot of honeypot, which a token that you can buy. You will add your contract in here, and then you cannot sell, you cannot benefit from it. There's a lot of scams on decentralized exchange. On centralized exchange, yeah, on centralized exchange, there's criteria and requirement for token to be listed. Basically, they need to do a KYC, know your customer. They have to provide an amount of liquidity. Uh, there's a lot of there's a market maker and trading volume on a daily basis required. So also it have to be uh, it depends basically on the ranking of the centralized exchange. You can check on CoinMarketCap the exchanges and the ranking of exchanges from 1 to 200, 300. Basically every centralized exchange have its own criteria to be listed on basically. And but basically, yeah, it is more safe to trade on centralized exchange, especially new project. But always don't put all of your money in a place that you cannot afford to lose. Always do your own research before investing in any project. And this is not a financial advice. This is a clear explanation between centralized and decentralized. So it is a personal opinion. Basically, that's the main difference between centralized and decentralized exchanges. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe for more content.